you had like a 5-book head start on me when you were like, you should read them. And then I started them. And I think we finished like around the same time.
Like I just barely beat you.
You just barely finished before me.
You want to do this?
I'm ready to do it.
Woo! Cheers!
Cheers!
Hey guys, I'm Meg.
I'm Mare.
And welcome back to another episode of Mom's Off Script.
And Meg's off the hook tonight.
Am I?
You're going to be dismissed after our little chit-chat here.
Oh my goodness, I'm actually really excited.
You've been demoted. Alan's been promoted.
Okay, well, my husband's going to join Meredith on the podcast tonight. What are you guys going to talk about?
We're talking about Bridgerton.
Wow.
Yeah, we're talking about the books. We're talking about the show. We're going to be spoiler-free for everything that's already that's not on Netflix yet.
Okay.
So if you've seen what's on Netflix, you can listen to everything.
I know you guys read the books together.
Yeah.
So my question was going to be like, was that your first read or was that a reread for you?
That was my first read.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to get into it with Alan. We're going to have a lovely discussion, little book chat, little book club. But before we do that, how are you?
I'm good.
I know. I need to get some time with you before I kick you out.
I know. I'm good. I mean, I'm like just kind of really back in the swing of it. Like we've been in January for a month now, back in the routine of work. Kids are back in school. So just kind of grinding.
You know what it is though? It's that it's so freaking cold and it's been wet and it's just like January, like solidly January.
I know,
solidly
but we
winter.
have gotten to go skiing a couple times.
That's so nice that you guys do that.
And my kids are really starting to enjoy it. So
we need to get on that. We've done, as far as winter activities, we did some sledding recently with you guys.
Oh yeah, that was really fun.
So fun. I was actually really surprised at how well my kids did with that.
That was
like
great.
A pretty big hill.
It was a very big hill. It was really fun.
AJ did about 2 passes and was like, I'm all set.
No, my kids were all for it.
Yeah. So we, as far as winter activities, that's about all we've done. So I'm envious of your skiing escapades.
Well, if you guys ever want to come, it's pretty straightforward. So
yeah, all right.
And it's very affordable at their age.
Okay, fair.
Yes.
We have a lot of skiing background in my family. My mom's side of the family lived in upstate New York. Both my grandparents ski. Like my grandmother still skis. My grandfather, who's passed away, skied for a very long time.
Yeah.
And they were like excellent skiers.
I bet we've skied at the same resort.
Yeah.
Like your
that
mom.
Doesn't surprise me. I'm sure that's the case.
She's from like Utica area, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just really trying to get my kids like introduced to the mountain and introduced to skiing. Like it does get expensive down the line and it isn't like there's no great skiing near us, like within 15-20 minutes from us, but there is like a lot of decent skiing 30 to 70 minutes away.
Do you and Alan both ski?
I ski. Alan has snowboarded in the past, but he's not like, he doesn't love it. Okay. So I take the kids individually. Like I take one and then kind of do our thing.
Oh, that's
and then,
nice.
Yeah, we've done a couple times where like he'll come. We only have one set of skis, but they do fit both our kids.
Okay, nice.
So we don't rent skis every time we go, but he's come with us and sat in the lodge and like hung out and did hot cocoa with one kid while I take the other kid on the bunny hill and then
That's
like vice versa. So we haven't graduated to the chairlift yet. My son
That's a big step.
My son is very excited to try the chairlift, but I've kind of set some parameters because I don't want to like scare him.
Yeah.
And
you want it to be a good first experience.
Yes. So, but he's very excited about it. So he has to like do 7 or 8 runs and then do the magic carpet by himself a couple times before I'll take him on the chairlift. But yeah.
All right. So would you like to chairlift your way up and back to your house so that swap with Alan so we can chat Bridgerton tonight?
Yeah, I'd love that. I'm going to go home, watch my kids, hang out at home while he comes over and has a little chit chat with you.
All right. Swap. See you at the end.
All right. Have fun.
Bye. Hi, Alan.
Hey.
Welcome to the podcast.
I'm very excited to be on.
I am thrilled to have you here. We are very excited to welcome Alan to the podcast. Alan is perhaps most well known for your role as husband of my beautiful co-host, Meg, and father to their 2 wonderful children. But Alan also works full-time as a software engineer, has a passion for robotics, fruit sculptures, and reading. Alan has been a supporter of Mom's Off Script from the very beginning, and I'm so glad you're here with us today.
Yeah, me too.
This is going to be such a fun episode because we are talking about Bridgerton today.
One of my favorite topics.
Me too. And obviously very trendy in light of the upcoming seasons. Before we dive into Bridgerton, though, let's back up because I mentioned that you have a love of reading. Meg and I have talked about my love of reading in the past. like, have you always been a big reader? Did it like evolve over time in adulthood, or like tell me how you became a reader and what your favorite genres to read are?
Yeah, when I was younger, I didn't really care for it. I can't speak for like when I was like a toddler. I don't know if my parents like I'm sure they read to me, but I don't know if I was like super into it or not.
Yeah.
After a toddler, whenever, as far as back as I can remember, I was never really a big reader.
Yeah.
I never took literature classes in school. I always like opted for the sciences and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Which tracks given your eventual path in life.
Yeah, it makes sense. But then I really got into it just kind of later in life, and I kind of found a passion just in originally it was kind of in like sci-fi. Kind of bridge the gap of like, all right, here's these nerdy things I'm into plus literature, and it kind of brought the two things together, and was able to interest me into it. So I got into sci-fi books, got some recommendations. I think like one of the first books that like really got me into reading was The Martian, which I know you read recently. Yes. And then it just kind of bridged out from there. I got really into the romantasy side of things with you and some of the other neighborhood friends of ours that like got into those.
Yes. We dragged you into with us. We dragged you into that world as soon as we found out you were reading.
Yeah, I think it was actually Caroline that was like the first one to actually recommend Court of Thorns and Roses to me, and that got me hooked on it. And
then I found out you were reading it, and I almost like passed out. I was like, wait, what? You need to give me updates as you're reading it. So excited for you. I know I referenced like Fourth Wing and ACOTAR on the podcast before, and Nick was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, they do. Yeah. They know what I'm talking about.
I did, for sure.
I wondered what your like gateway drug was with the books. So it sounds like The Martian was kind of the first thing for you, and then getting more into sci-fi and romantasy from there. When did you pick up Bridgerton?
So Bridgerton actually came in, me and Meg started watching the show.
Yeah.
Got really into it there. And then I think it was after ACOTAR, so I kind of had already gotten a taste of the romantasy, and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of for me.
Yeah.
And then so I was naturally just kind of led into like, all right, I'm really into this Bridgerton show. I want more, but they're the seasons are way out.
Yeah.
So I decided to read the books, and that's kind of where I went from there. So
I think it was Halloween of 2023, maybe, when we were at our house for Halloween, and you mentioned like, I'm reading Bridgerton, and I don't even think I realized that they were a book series. I'd obviously been watching the Netflix show, and you were like, I'm reading them, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
They're books? And you were the one who got me hooked on it, and I plowed through them. Like, I think you had like a 5-book head start on me when you were like, you should read them, and then I started them, and I think we finished like around the same time.
Like, I just barely beat you.
Just barely finished before me. Let's dig into Bridgerton, because I'm so excited for the upcoming season. Obviously, we've both read all the books, but we've only seen up through Penelope's story, right?
Right.
Yes. So when we're talking today on the podcast, we will have spoilers for the released seasons of Netflix up through Penelope's story, but we will not have spoilers for the upcoming season or any seasons that have not yet been on Netflix. So spoiler-free.
Ish
up till what Netflix has released.
Yeah.
So I think the first natural question I have to ask is you started with the show, and then you went to the books, and then I'm assuming you read some of the books before that season came out. What was your experience reading the book and then watching the season, and like, what did you prefer?
As far as like the first couple of books, I definitely preferred the show first. I'm that kind of person where like, I like to kind of understand a world and like get that visual of it and like kind of have it constructed for me a little bit, and then read the books as like a supplement. So like and then sometimes I do the opposite. I'll start with the books, and then I'll like watch the movie or watch the show. But if I get into the show first, it like already kind of paints the picture in my mind, and then it lets me sort of like go on a tangent from that.
Yes.
Which it makes it easier for me to like visualize and like get more attached to what I'm reading. So
especially like a show like Bridgerton, where there's so many characters, and it's such a visual world. It's like, it's not just like our modern day. So being somewhere different, having that visual picture painted, like really can help you as you're reading, immerse yourself in that world.
Right. Yeah. I think even so, like when they came out with Colin's season, or I liked it better that in the previous seasons I was able to watch the seasons and then read the book.
Yes.
Like I almost kind of wanted to like go back and read the book again after watching Colin's season. Yes. Like I was like, what did that happen? Was it quite that way? Like I was trying to remember everything. So like I think I even went back and like read some of the like cliff notes and stuff on it just to like refresh myself on the book.
Yeah.
And try and pick out the differences. But
do you do that? You go back and try and like notice those differences?
Sometimes, yeah.
I feel like I am good at taking something for like the medium that it is. Like I will read the book and enjoy the book, and then I'll watch the show and enjoy the show. And I'm not one to like pick apart like, well, in the book it was this, unless it's like a major plot point.
Yeah.
So like the example I'll give you is the Lady Whistledown reveal right at the end of Penelope's season, and the Netflix show. She has this like grand speech in front of the Ton at that ball where she like reveals her identity as Lady Whistledown, and it's this really dramatic moment. But in the books, Penelope's reveal is completely different, right? Like Colin kind of tells everybody what happened, and she's more passive in the reveal. So for me, that was like a huge change. So that sticks out in my head. But something more subtle, like I'm not one to sit there and pick it apart. Were there any differences that stuck out to you in a memorable way, or do you really just view them as two separate mediums?
I think one of the major memorable ones was the Queen.
Yes.
So like having watched the show first, I'm like, oh, when I read the books, like this Queen's going to be this huge character. She's going to decide all the, the diamond of the season and that kind of stuff. And none of that was in the books.
None of that. You're like, where's the Queen?
Yeah. The whole time I'm like reading, like, when's she going to come in? Like just flipping through. I'm like, maybe she's in the second book. Maybe she's in the third. I'm like, nope, she just never shows up.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that either. And it's especially crazy considering now she has her own spinoff season. Did you watch the Queen Charlotte?
I did not know. Did you?
Yes. Yeah. And it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go watch it. It's a wonderful little standalone story. It was such a beautiful picture of mental health and love and like supporting someone through something difficult. And it gave Queen Charlotte's character so much more depth the next season. I think that one came out between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like after Anthony's season, but before Colin.
I think so, yeah.
I just ate it right up. It was so good. And it was very different from kind of the social.
Is there like a love story?
Yes.
Okay. So it still kind of follows the.
Yeah. It's her love story, Queen Charlotte's with the king.
Yep.
Their love story of how they fell in love and, his ailments and how she like helped him through his ailments and like where she is now. And it just gives you so much more appreciation for like what she went through and how she's now this just like regal presence that kind of overarches the whole show. And yeah, I highly recommend. You got to watch it.
Did it have like I know like the other seasons in the books kind of have like a trope, like there's like the Cinderella story or like the, the love triangle story with like Anthony and like Edwina and stuff. And did it have like a trope like that, or did it kind of stray from that and just sort of more tell a story?
I'm trying to think if it was. I don't think so.
Which kind of makes sense, like, because like I feel like Julia Quinn's books were meant to like follow tropes, like she kind of designed them that way. But this is something
separate.
outside of the her books, so like it wouldn't necessarily need to do that.
I don't think so. Maybe someone more well read than me would be like, no, it's totally this, and I'd be like, oh, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Maybe our viewers can.
Someone can let me know if I'm missing it, but I don't think it's based on a trope. But it's excellent. Highly recommend.
Oh, cool.
What season of the show is your favorite so far? Because I know my answer to this like in a second.
That fast, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was definitely Anthony's.
Me too.
Or Anthony's, I should say, yeah.
Yeah. Why was it your favorite?
The tension.
Yes.
The tension in that story was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And even in the book too, it was like phenomenal tension the whole time.
Yes.
You're just like yearning for it to happen, and it gets close, and it comes back, and it gets close, and it comes back, and it's just like.
I love an enemies to lovers. Like 9 times out of 10, I love an enemies to lovers. And Jonathan Bailey is amazing. Yeah. Like I had not seen him in anything before I saw him in Bridgerton, and I was like, who is this man? And then come to find out about him as an actor and him as a person, and then seeing him in Wicked and all these other things, and he's so incredibly talented as an actor, and watching his range as an actor as this like very masculine head of household in the Bridgerton family to dancing through life in Wicked, I'm like, how is this the same man? It's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, he's incredible to me. The other thing that was interesting about Anthony's season is that in the books, Edwina, it's very like a platonic thing. Like she doesn't really fall for him. And it's like, he's just doing it out of duty. And she's like, okay, like, he's a kind of a catch. So she's with it. But in the show, there's more of a love triangle dynamic because Edwina does kind of fall for him. And he's not interested in her. He's very much like, I will marry you if I must.
Right.
Which adds to that enemies to lovers dynamic because you have Kate and Anthony doing what they're doing. And then you have Edwina who's like also having feelings for him. So I just thought that added a nice layer to it. That was one of the changes I didn't mind from the books to the show because I think it added some complexity to the dynamic.
Yeah. How did you feel though? So I felt like in the books, I always felt like Edwina kind of had Kate's back. Like there was a really good bond of sisterhood there. And because she was so supportive. I feel like it was kind of a trade-off because they like didn't have that bond because they kind of had to be like against each other because they're fighting over the same man. Yeah. Did you feel like it was worth it? Was it a good trade-off to like take that away and put the love triangle in?
That's a great point. I do think it was worth it because I think it added to the tension. Like you said, I thought that was the best part of the season was that growing tension between them because when it finally ignited, it was just like, yes. So like adding to that in any way, I thought really took it to the next level. But you make a good point because I think there's been other instances of the show taking some liberties with female relationships that took them from like very supportive and like, you know, kind of ride or die loyal for each other and turned them into something a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
The example I'm thinking of is Eloise and Penelope,
yeah.
right? So in the book, when Eloise finds out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown, she's like surprised, but then like, damn girl, good for you. Like very impressed with her. And there's no element of betrayal versus in the show when she finds out it's like this horrible, like you've backstabbed and betrayed me moment. And that is one that I kind of struggle with. I get why they did it because it made for very dramatic television, but I yearned for the supportive relationship that Eloise and Penelope had in the books.
Right.
How did you feel about it?
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. I thought it was kind of unnecessary. Like it definitely, like it adds to the drama. It makes it more interesting, but like it was already dramatic. Like it was already a big deal that Penn had to go through and reveal herself as Whistledown, and that there was tension even with Colin because Colin didn't know. I think he knew sooner in the books than he did in the show.
Colin knew first in the books before Eloise.
Right.
Yeah.
So like they already had the drama of like Colin not knowing and how was he going to react and how was he going to like treat it and was he going to stand by Penn or was he going to like cave into the tons and like want to like fall into that and be like, no, we gotta shun what she's doing kind of thing.
Right.
So like they already had that drama. Did they really need to add the Eloise stuff in? Like,
yeah,
I don't know if it needed to be there. Like, it would have been cool to have her as like her one person in her pocket to like keep her going through it. But
this is also reminding me of Cressida as a character. Who she's in the books, right? I can't remember. If she is, she's a relatively minor character. Yeah. But in the show, she's another kind of female character who is like a little bit sharp and like causes trouble and like isn't like a model of like, girl, I got your back kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to think about, are there any relationships in the show that I think like exemplify like a strong, healthy female relationship? And what I'm thinking of is Lady Danbury
and
Violet
yeah.
and how they kind of are there for each other through it. So I guess you get one, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
maybe the later seasons they'll find something to do as well too. But
yeah, for sure. Speaking of later seasons, thinking about the Queen Charlotte spinoff, do you think they would ever make a Violet spinoff?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because she's got that little love romance going with that guy.
Yeah, they're kind of setting it up.
His name.
Yeah, I forget his name too.
Okay,
it's Lady Danbury's like brother,
cousin,
or cousin,
someone,
or
some relation.
Yeah,
yeah, they're just setting that up.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense too because like one thing you got to think about too is with how long it takes them to make a new season. The cast that they have is aging, and these people are supposed to be fairly young when the stuff is kind of going on, especially like Gregory and Hyacinth like need to be like they're going to get pretty old by the time it's their season, and so they might try to start like combining some of the stories together into one season. Yeah. But with Violet, you don't have that issue. Like she's already a fully grown woman. She can kind of have her own season. It doesn't have the weird optic that it would have for a 28-year-old Hyacinth trying to like act as like a 16-year-old getting her first introduction to the season. But
all right, Netflix, if you're watching, we want a Violet season.
Yeah, absolutely. Or a Violet spinoff. I would love that.
There we go. So let's go beyond the seasons that have been released without any spoilers. Thinking about the whole Bridgerton universe and all the books. So what is your ranking? Maybe let's go from least favorite to favorite. And let's compare. What's your least favorite?
My least favorite was actually Benedict's.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, tell me why.
I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but it is kind of a Cinderella trope.
Yeah, we can say that.
And I just thought it was like a little too predictable. So like, I kind of knew what was going to happen. There was, some kind of drama in it. But it was at the end of the day, like I kind of had already had it figured out. So like it wasn't as exciting of a read for me.
I think that is a really good point, and I feel similarly, but about a different season or about a different book, which was Colin's, because I had already seen that season when I was reading it. So I knew where it was going, and I was like, I don't know. It didn't have the same dramatic reveal to me with, everything that was going on. So I loved it. Don't get me wrong. There weren't any that I didn't like, but I would say for me, Colin's was on the bottom.
Yeah, that was my second from the bottom. I had Colin and Benedict.
Okay, so you had Benedict, then Colin. Yep. I have Colin, and then that's a tough one. I might have to say Daphne is my next one, even though I loved that season on Netflix. From a book perspective, it felt just like a little traditional, maybe is the word I'm looking for. I don't know. What's that trope supposed to be? Like the fake engagement. That's what it is.
Yeah, like best friends to lovers kind of thing. Like, yeah.
So I was just like, okay, it was fine. Nothing earth shattering. So I think I'd put her next.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got Benedict, Cullen, then
so it's kind of torn between the next two. I had kind of Gregory and Daphne next. I think probably Daphne would be my next one going bottom up. Same kind of reason. It was just like, because it had already been a show and I'd already kind of seen it, and there wasn't too much different from the book to the show, so it wasn't like as exciting to
faithful.
read. Yeah, it was pretty faithful compared to some of the other ones. Again, same kind of thing. I kind of already knew what was happening and what was coming. I did like some of the different aspects they kind of had in the book, which like, and the one thing I really liked was that like Simon's part was a bit different to me. Like he kind of had his stutter through the whole entire portion of it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I remember like one of the key moments was like when the whole scandal happened with him and Daphne, where like she kind of forced himself on her. His stutter came back. And it was sort of like him like falling back into his childhood, where like he didn't feel safe and he felt like cast out by his father and stuff, and it like had this little of a it was like a trigger. Yeah, like a traumatic relapse that happened, and I kind of liked how they tied that all together in the book. Yeah, and I think they left that on the show. Like he kind of got over his stutter. I don't even know if he had a stutter.
I don't even think he did in the show.
Yeah, like was much more minor.
If it was, it was like a subtle plot point. So you would say Daphne, and then did you say Gregory after that?
Yeah, and then Gregory after that.
See, I would put Gregory a little higher up, I think. I loved how his story started with the end. Yeah. So you knew where it was going, but I was like, how do we get here? Right? Like it was so, I loved knowing where we were going, but having no idea how we were going to get there. Yeah. And as I got closer and closer to the end, I was like, how are we going to get there? I'm so stressed. Like it was so good. Yeah. I really liked that one. So I think I would say Colin, Daphne, and then I'm going to say Eloise. But now we're getting into ones I really liked.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like it's a really hard choice. Yeah. I think I would say Eloise. I loved her story. I liked how it was different. That she was going to see this guy it was so Eloise to just like take off to a guy that had been writing to her, and he's got kids. She's got to figure that out dynamic. And then when her brothers show up and they have that big confrontation, that was like one of my favorite scenes. I was like, I cannot wait to see this adapted, because all those guys, I can just already see them slaying that scene. It's going to be so great. Yeah.
One thing I really loved about Eloise too is that like she's always kind of in the black sheep of the family. Yes. And I felt like her story was very black sheep. Like it wasn't like very romantic. It wasn't very like wooey and like falling for you, and like it was a rough story. Like there was a lot of like turmoil in it. Yeah. And I thought that was very fitting for Eloise, because like all her siblings had these beautiful, fanciful romantic stories, and hers was not, and it was very real and it was very raw. Yeah. And I thought it was cool, and it was a good change of pace. So I had it a little bit higher up on mine.
Completely agree with that take. Like it was so good. So then I would say Eloise, you had Gregory next. I think I might put Gregory next as well. Yeah.
It's a good middle of the line story.
Okay, so who would you say next?
Now it's starting to get into my favorites.
Yeah, these are like favorites.
So I guess, sorry, above Gregory I had Eloise. And then above Eloise, I had Antony.
Yeah, so I think I would put him next on my list too. Yeah. So good. Loved that season for all the reasons we already said, or that book, I should say. That book, yeah. For all the reasons we said, that Enemies to Lovers gets me every time.
Yeah. And one of the things I really loved about his book was, I know we mentioned it about the show, but the tension in the book, I felt was even more so. Yes. One thing I loved, and I think I mentioned this to you about Julia Quinn's writing, was that she would write from Kate's perspective. Yeah. And you would just hear Kate's thoughts, and she'd be looking at Antony and being like, you know, is he thinking this? Is he thinking that? And you're just sitting there on the edge of your seats, like, switch over to Antony, so I can know what he's thinking, because like there's all these thoughts and this whole perspective that Kate has, and like I just want you to go over to Antony, and so I can see what's in his mind and how he's feeling about the situation. But she would just like tease it like a carrot, like I'm gonna do it, but then she wouldn't, and like eventually she would, and you'd be like, okay, that now I see what Antony's doing, and I just love that. Like not only was there tension in the scenes, but there was tension in the writing. Yes, the actual words that she was saying had so much tension, because you were just hanging on this thought of, okay, this is what Kate feels, but what does Antony feel? And I need to know, and it's coming, and I know it's coming, but she would dangle it in front of you, and you'd have to wait. And that was like one of my favorite things about that book.
Totally agree. I think the tension that's built when you as the reader are in both heads, but they are obviously not in each other's heads, and you're like, come on, just figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also love the dynamic in Antony's story about the pressure he felt as the head of household, and the burden he seemed to feel on his shoulders once his father died, to like step into that role and run the house and take care of his mother and all of his siblings, and the way he was able to, like, I don't want to say release some of that, because he certainly was very protective and supportive of Kate, but like able to kind of let all that go when he was with her, and that contrast of like the very orderly and masculine Mr. Bridgerton to like being with her and being a little bit more like himself and like breathing a little more. I love when you can see a guy like let his guard down a little and like
it was beautiful.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
All right, so then that leaves, who are we left with? We've got Hyacinth, we've got Francesca.
Yep.
That's it, right?
That's it for my list.
Me too. Those are my top two for sure, but
Those
I don't
are my
know.
Top two.
I think, oh God, it's so hard to choose. I think I'm going to say this. Francesca, Hyacinth's number one, but Francesca's second bonus chapter is my favorite. Of like anything Julia Quinn wrote. Like that chapter I could read like all day, every day.
Yeah, that one brought me to tears.
Oh my God. And I know we're not doing spoilers, so we're not going to say anything, but like, yeah, I just sobbed through the end of that. It was so good. So I said Francesca, Hyacinth. Would you agree or would you flip them?
I would flip them.
Okay.
Yeah, so Francesca has always been my
Your top.
And I think from the moment I read that book, I knew before I even finished the other ones that one was my favorite.
Yeah, so good.
Just the intensity of that book. I mean, it was just unmatchable. Like every page I was hanging on an edge, just wondering what was going to happen next. Yeah. The storytelling of it, I felt like there was a trope there, but it was a trope that I wasn't too familiar with. Yeah. Like I hadn't read many books that had that kind of trope that was in it. And the show is setting it up as a little bit of a hint. Yes. It was just a really unique thing to me at the time when I was reading it. So not only was it like fun for me to read, it was just like, I couldn't put it down. Yes. Super intense. Probably the book I read the fastest out of all the series for me. So I loved that Francesca, it's like she had this hidden side to her. Like especially, she shows up in all the other books and you're like, oh, okay, she's Francesca. And like she, in the shows, this is not a spoiler because she's already married, right, to somebody in the show. So you're like, oh, she's all set. And so you kind of just think you're all good with her and you know her. And then when you get to her story and the way things evolve and who she grows to become and the relationship that she has and what she discovers about herself in that relationship, is just such a wonderful deepening of a character who you kind of just think like, oh, it's Francesca, whatever. And then you like really dig into who she is and she digs into who she is. And I loved seeing her become like more confident and strong throughout that book. Yeah, her growth in that book was unbelievable. Insane. It was like just so cool to watch her go through this like huge roller coaster of of events that really like forced her to grow. Yeah, she definitely had the roughest road of the Bridgerton children. Yeah, she dealt with a lot of trauma, a lot of loss, and obviously they all did with the loss of their father. But I think she had a particularly traumatic path even after that. So to see her go through that and evolve as a character, and again, no spoilers, but like the romantic books end with happy endings. So she gets there in the end. It's just like so satisfying to see that come to fruition. And I think what I loved about her book too was like, I forgot about this until just now, but it was so fast. It was like first chapter, second chapter, and you're like, whoa, oh, that's a lot. Like, you're right. It like hits you really fast, and you're like, okay, like what's the rest of this book going to be about? Because that was a ton, and like all we are rocking and rolling. Yeah, so completely agree. Yeah. Now, what about Hyacinth's story? I mean, I'll let you go. It was your favorite book, so if you want to touch on it first. I loved a few things about this. One, I loved the like treasure hunt trope to it, right? That, like you said, they all have a trope. I loved the treasure hunt theme. I love just the dynamic between, it's Gareth, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gareth. Yeah. The dynamic between Gareth and Hyacinth, I just thought was so fun. He's a little rebellious. She's a little mischievous. And, they're going on this escapade, looking for the treasure, right? I don't want to give anything away. And that dynamic between the two of them was just so fun for me to read. And I just thought Hyacinth was so sassy and so fun. She reminds me of my daughter. Like when I read it, I'm like, this is going to be AJ. Like when she, if AJ was in the Ton, she would be Hyacinth. Like they're just the same person. So I just loved that dynamic between the two of them. And then the growth of that relationship. I would say the one thing, there's an element of that story that is very similar to an element in Benedict's story. And again, I don't want to give anything away, but there's like a legitimacy question in both those stories. And I was a little bit annoyed that they were like, I was like, we've already done this, So that was the one thing I didn't like about it, but the rest of it I loved enough to put it at the top of my list. Yeah. What about you? I really liked, and I feel like this is kind of a plug for your podcast a bit, but I thought there was a really good motherly aspect to it where Violet had to face the fact that this was her last kid going into the season. And that was kind of like her transition from motherhood to like now being something else and like kind of being like a peer to these children that she's been raising. Yes. So there was like some really, really good just developments for Violet in that story. And I remember there was one part that like I still get emotional thinking about it, where like Hyacinth kind of has a moment where she's questioning who she is, and Violet kind of steps in and she gives this really, really insightful like kind of talk with her where she's like, I'm your mother, like I've known you your whole life and I know who you are, and like though you may forget it and like feel different sometimes, like I know the person you are, and like really lifted her up in a way that I was like just like it hit really like personal to me. Because I have a very supportive mother like that who like keeps me in check and reminds me of who I am at times. Shout out to my mom if she's listening.
Yes.
And I just love that in that story. Like I thought there was a really, really cool bond with Violet and Hyacinth in that story that added layers to the story.
1,000% agree. And I love that part of the story. I've already talked about Violet and how much I love her. And I think that anytime she's in the story, she just adds that layer of complexity and depth, and that mother role and watching how she navigates each of her children, but Hyacinth especially as her last, was just so satisfying. And I know which scene you're talking about, and I felt the same way reading it. I was like,
Yeah, exactly.
So the new season comes out January 29th. Obviously, we're excited to watch it. Are there any elements of the story that you're particularly excited to see adapted? Again, trying to keep it spoiler free.
Yeah. You know, I love to see their take on it. You know, that's something that's always big for me. You know, they're not going to retell the story. We already know that. They're going to kind of change some elements. We've already kind of seen that with the casting. Like they're really trying to kind of branch out and expand the casting a bit for Sophie's role and stuff, which is going to be really cool. I think there's a lot of scenes where they kind of go outside of
you're
like
right.
the central kind of Bridgerton London area. And there's more that kind of happens on the peripherals. And I think that'll be kind of cool if they decide to kind of dip into that.
Yeah.
One thing that I think is also interesting too is that Benedict kind of already has
this is what I was going to talk about.
That like didn't really exist in the story.
Yes.
So I'm kind of interested to see like how that's going to factor in. Because like he sort of already has that. He's in sort of like a thruple even too with like another guy. So like there's something already going on there. So I'm curious to see how they're going to like either transition or blend that into the Sophie story. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Benedict has been kind of painted as a little bit of a rogue, right? Like he does drugs and he smokes and he's like kind of the, you know, laissez-faire older brother that's not Anthony, so he doesn't have the same pressure, so he kind of does what he wants. Like you said, with this little throuple relationship that he's got with these two people, they're like, you know, experimenting with all these fun things. So it's going to be interesting to see the transition to Sophie as the love interest. One element that I'm excited to see them play with too is the class element, right? And again, not giving anything away, but we said Cinderella before, right? So Sophie is not of the same, you know, social strata as Benedict. So I think that will be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. I think the other thing I'm excited to see is the very beginning masquerade ball. I love a ball. I love all those scenes with the balls when everybody's dressed up, the costuming, the outfits. Like I love all of that. And is particularly Sophie's outfit at that very first ball. I can't wait to see how that all comes together. I think there's been some promo material that I've like glimpsed. I'm trying not to like spoil myself before it comes out, but I'm just like pumped for that very first like opening scene.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
All right, Alan, are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready.
This is a like mom's off script rite of passage. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You're going to answer quickly off the cuff with your gut. These are your answers, not like speaking for anybody else.
Cool.
Here we go.
Ready.
Show or books?
Books.
Binge the season when it's all out or watch it as released?
Watch it as released.
Favorite Bridgerton kid?
Including spouses or just Bridgerton? Just Bridgerton. Hyacinth.
Favorite Bridgerton spouse?
Oh, there we go. Lucy.
Oh, good one. If you were to ball in the ton, are you a wallflower or a dancer?
Dancer.
Would you rather be a socialite participating in the season or house staff gossiping about it?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I feel like house staff. I feel like it'd be less stressful. I feel like that's high stress when you're doing that.
Which season are you most looking forward to that's not released yet?
Francesca's.
What pop song do you want to hear in Benedict's season?
It's a good one. I want to hear some new Taylor Swift.
Yeah!
Like something off her new album.
Love it. You crushed it.
Thanks.
Nice job.
Not to flip the script on you, but I did make my own lightning round for you.
Oh my God.
If you're interested.
I'm interested.
Okay,
Hang
cool.
on. Okay. I just got sweaty.
I know. Meg was like, it makes Meredith really nervous when you do these. So like, she might not be in for it, but if she is, like, go for it.
I'm always down.
Cool.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
All right, flipping the script, doing my own lightning round for you. My first appearance on the podcast.
Running the show already.
Running the show already. My rite of passage, doing the lightning round. All right. If you were to have an old-timey British romance, who would it be with? Anthony, Simon, Colin, or Benedict?
Oh, Anthony.
Anthony. If you were to pick one Bridgerton sibling to have as your sibling, who would it be?
Eloise.
Violet or Lady Danbury as your in-law?
Violet.
Lady Featherington, is she a villain or is she just a misunderstood mom trying to do what's right for her
she is
kids?
Misunderstood. We didn't talk about her. I love her.
Yeah, I know, me too.
I mean, she's terrible, but I love her.
Yeah. Putting your children's names in alphabetical order, yes or no?
No.
If you were to play Pall Mall, what would your mallet color be? Pink, blue, yellow, mustard, purple, green, or black? The mallet of death.
Green.
Green. Okay, nice. We gotta figure out whose mallet is green, because each person has their own mallet. I'm curious now. And then what song does the orchestra play at the climax of your love story?
Probably like Bruno Mars or something, like Uptown Funk.
I love that.
That was so good. I loved it. Alan, thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah,
that was so fun.
That was amazing.
Well, you're gonna have to do another one once the season is out.
Absolutely.
And do like a reflection, because that was so fun, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, whenever you want me back on, I'm more than happy.
Fabulous.
I'm back. How'd it go?
It was so good.
Was it?
I just had such a blast. So you've been replaced, and this is now mom and dad off script.
Absolutely not, because you're not mom and dad together.
A mom and a dad.
Yeah. Well, we're the moms, and we don't have a script.
You could never be replaced.
Thank
but it was very good. Alan was fantastic. We chatted all about Bridgerton books and series, and he is gonna have to come back to chat about it once the season is out. So we'll book him in our recording calendar.
Fantastic. I'm really excited to watch this season with him and like chat with you alongside. Yeah. So hope everything went really well.
Loved it. It was great. You want to wrap us up?
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Be sure to check out our socials, Moms Off Script, on Instagram and TikTok. And send us an email. Let's hear your favorite Bridgerton stories.
Yeah.
Who are your favorite Bridgerton couples, characters? What's your favorite book? Which season of the show are you excited about?
What mallet color would you choose?
There you go. It's momsoffscript@gmail.com. So send them your way. We'd love to hear everything. All right. Bye.
Bye,
guys.
Moms Off Script is created, designed, filmed, edited, and produced by Megg Abelein and Meredith Finch. Music by Matt Beebe. Photography by Michelle Montinieri. Graphic design by Alexia Dulieu, and production consultants Nick DiVasta and Alan DiCicco.